Good evening. So obviously I'm back here in Amsterdam. I've still got the business to run, and for any of you looking for a motorcycle adventure today, it's probably time to turn off that video, because today I'm going to be specifically answering all the business questions that I received from my very first video on how to set up a £250,000 business. So today's going to be all the boring stuff, all the paperwork that's involved, and basically all the information that I'm being asked in the comments about how do you actually run a business and what do you need to put on paper. So that's what I'm going to be discussing. Brace yourself for a very intense, boring video. Now, the first thing with any business is funding. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume you've watched my hour-long video on how I was traveling backwards and forwards to finance my journey. And hopefully you'll grab some ideas from that. And I'm also going to assume that you've seen my other video about all the legalities you need to follow to open up your own business, which is like the business insurance, registering with the Chamber of Commerce, things like that. So today we're specifically focusing on the things that you need to run your own business, not all the setup that's involved in offices. Now, every business starts with an idea. Whether you're providing a service or selling a product, you have to have an idea that you can build upon. My original idea was to open a pub in the UK, and now I've ended up opening this bar, restaurant, mini club in the centre of Amsterdam's red light district. So it's a bit of a step away from the quiet country pub that I had envisioned at the start. But through circumstances and meeting people and everything, your ideas will change and you'll have to adapt to what you're trying to achieve. Speaking of adaptation, with the current COVID lockdown, I've completely renovated the business to be a takeaway, because we can't open, we're not allowed people inside to eat and drink, so you just have to keep moving with the regulations to stay on top of the ball. Once you have your ideas set in place, then you can build upon the theme. Now, this place was previously a Thai bar, and it's been a Thai bar for over 30 years, and I thought I'd keep with that theme just because it's got a local customer base, people that want to eat Thai food. But obviously you have to make it your own, so I had to design my own menu of food, I had to find a new menu of drinks that would work, and I've had to blend it together with the old concept so that I can keep the old customers coming back. Obviously later on I can change the concept step by step and phase out the old customers to bring in the customers that I want, but for now we have to look at money and making money. So that brings us back to the start. With any business you need funding. And funding is incredibly hard to find unless you are incredibly lucky or you have all the right paperwork to catch an investor by the heart and make them invest in you. And I went through every different possibility that I could to try and get my hands on a significant amount of money. The cost price of this bar was €250,000. Plus, that's not owning it. That's only like the initial fee to buy the goodwills and the area inside. So on top of that, there's also like between 6,000 and 10,000 in expenses with rent, and even more than that afterwards. But that's for you to decide on your own business in your own place of your concept for your business. So let's move on a little bit. Once you've got your theme and you've got your idea and your place where you want to be, you then need to come up with your logo. So you'll need something that people know is you. Obviously, I've gone with, originally I had, it was a very colourful Thai street bar logo, quite unprofessional because I was completely new to business. I've never been to university, never been to college. I have no qualifications in business whatsoever. So I wanted a quick logo that I could make look fancy, and I ended up with this. So now at this point I had my logo, I had a business idea, I had a concept, I had a theme, and I knew what I wanted to sell and how I was going to make money for the business. I also knew what my expenses were going to be because I spoke with the people that own the building. So I had to come up with a plan from there, and that's more detailed in my previous video. But after you've got your menu and your things ready, you then need to find suppliers. Now, suppliers are obviously, you want cheap suppliers, but at the same time you want quality. So you have to find a balance that works for you. And with me, quality is very important, the same as recycling. So I found all the best recycling services. Nearly every drink we sell in the fridges goes to a recycling centre once the contents has been consumed. So that for me is perfect. And we also get money back from the recycling. So it's a second income that's coming back in. As for the food and drink, we've got a special farm that delivers chicken. That comes from a direct chicken farm that specialises in chicken. They also provide the eggs. For all the beef and everything, we have a very good local butchers. They're just outside the centre of here. It's like 20 minutes away, and that's the best beef per price that I found, and the quality of meat. I mean, we serve raw meat dishes, we serve raw beef dishes, we serve raw pork dishes, so the meat has to be the finest. So now we've got all the basic stuff out of the way, we need to look at building ourselves a presence through promotional work, and the best way to do that is building a website and then putting loads of posters and flyers around the area to get yourself known for the big opening day. Now, at the time I made this website myself, I didn't really have much experience. I spent maybe a day or two building it. And at the time I was really happy with it. I thought, yeah, this is a good website. And then I revisited it a few months later after the business had been open. I thought, you know what, this is awful. So I went through and redesigned the whole website, which now I'm pretty happy with. But the annoying thing with that is I took a Dutch company for building my website, which means every time I wanted to do something on the website, I was sat there with my phone and Google Translate to read add element, add this, and then there'd be a bad translation where you're trying to figure it out. You delete the whole page by mistake, and then, it was just a headache. But now I'm really happy with my website. So we've got everything sorted so far. We've built our suppliers list, we've built a theme, we've got the business, we've got our refuse collection sorted, we've got our promotional work out there. Now you have to have the running of the business. And that's where work instructions come in. So if you've been following my videos from the very early days, you would have seen that I was working a normal job within the aerospace industry. I was working with aircraft spares, consumables and rotables, and then before that I was working with aerospace chemicals and hazardous goods. So my main influence for the work instructions comes from an aerospace background, so that everything must be perfect and there must be an instruction for everything you do. So what I'm going to do now is delve into the work instructions, which is pretty much the whole running of it is the whole running of this bar and restaurant. It's got everything in here that you would need to give as a manual to someone to run this business if I just walked out. Now, obviously, I can't show you everything in this folder because it contains passwords, private information, employee information, and generally information that wouldn't be relevant to you anyway. So I've redacted some of the pages, but I will try and go through as best I can everything in here so that you get an idea of what I need to do to run this place effectively. And it all starts with a list of contents. Now, I'm just going to quickly run through how this works. You have the list of contents, and next to each one is a reference number which will point you to a page in this small booklet. So if we were looking at the bar and we were looking for hygiene, we'd check section 10008. And if we were looking for let's say how to use the gambling machine, we would look for powering up 100032, and then each section is numbered. So here's every section we've got in here. I am the self-appointed quality supervisor. That means if there's anything wrong, I get the blame rather than passing it to someone else. And I think that's a nice touch because a lot of businesses now pass the blame to other people. So we've got an introduction, we've got employees training, disciplinary procedures, quality and hygiene, and SVH, that's the certificate you need to work in a bar, employee appraisals, first aid, fire training and manual handling training, licensing for the music, gambling machines, kitchen, terrace, alcohol and opening and closing times. Behind the bar we've got hygiene, presentation, restocking and ordering, shelf life, breakages, expired stock, drinks for staff, beer taps, CO2 and cleaning regimes, changing beer barrels, preparing cutlery and cleaning glasses. And then with the drinks we've got clean glasses, it's two separate things there. Measurements, mixers, straws and ice, how to use the machine, how to power it up, that sort of thing. The list of glasses, what sizes to use, list of drinks, everything we sell. Then we got the dining area, the floor, the tables and chairs, menus, decorations and candles, which also contains a bit about safety, you know, fire hazards, things like that. Then you got the toilets, cleaning, restocking toiletries, what's for customer use only. Then you've got the terrace, the windows and door, the tables, chairs and umbrellas, signs and decorations, lighting. Then we've got the gambling machines, how to power them up, alarms, refilling. Then we've got service and customers, seating, taking orders, tabs, takeaway. And then we've got payments and cash register, taking payment, tips, cash register and printer, pin machine, invoices and receipts, and home use. So what I'm going to quickly do is move straight on to invoices. We actually do some catering gigs where we will prepare a large amount of food and then send it to a customer or a party. and they will require an invoice to pay at a later date. So then you have to design your own invoice form. I've redacted a lot of the information on this because this is a live invoice, so I've had to remove the reference, our bank details, and the prices that we've done for them, because obviously if people are ordering a lot of food, we will give them reduced prices. It's how it is. So there's the invoice form, so you can have a quick look at how that's laid out. And I actually made this myself in Excel, so they're very easy to make. There's plenty of templates online, but I decided I want my own design, mainly because I don't know how to use Excel, and it was nice to learn. So, when you go through each of these things, obviously I'm not going to bore you with the procedure for cleaning glasses and things, but we have information on here about the company. The Thai Street Bar is a fully functioning cafe complete with bar, kitchen, terrace and toilet facilities. The business focuses heavily on customer satisfaction, providing a safe and fun environment for our customers to enjoy food and drink. Further entertainment is available in the form of gambling machines, karaoke and live performances. So that's the kind of the way that this is listed and how it's written out. Then it says about the employee training. You're expected to undergo formal training with a supervisor or manager. This training is carried out in conjunction with the documents set out in this work instruction and the procedures. And then there'll be more information there. The disciplinary procedure, how much you can have in sickness, will you be paid? You have to invent all that information yourself because it's your business. So you get to decide what rules you make for your workplace, and it's up to the employee if they like them or disagree with them. So let's just move on to other things. If I go through, let's find something we can use. First aid, fire training and manual handling training. Now, what I have for this is we have sometimes a guy come in to check, make sure everything's safe. That's my responsibility. But for the employees, this is everyone's responsibility. Everyone must know how to lift up an item safely. You know, that really tedious, boring video. Bend your knees, back straight, legs apart, all that sort of thing. You have to train people to do that. Everyone knows how to do it, or pretty much everyone knows how to do it, but you have to make sure they know how to do it. Give them a test. They need to answer a certain amount correctly. I think it's 75% I've made up. And if they get that right, then they can move on to the next stage, because it's very important that people don't get injured in the workplace. Otherwise, your insurance goes up. The other one is fire training. They must know how to use an extinguisher, and they must be trained on each part within the business. We have things like deep fat fryers in the kitchen, and if people weren't aware and it caught fire, they might think to throw water on it. And of course, if you throw water on a deep fat fryer when it's at temperature, it will explode and go everywhere. So yeah, you need to know what to use, whether it's wet chemical, foam or something else. And that's all listed in other documents online, so they can watch videos, learn about it, take the test, and then once I'm confident that they're competent, then they can continue to work here. Hygiene presentation. So just for an example here, we have one section about beer taps, CO2 and cleaning, and it refers to a document called 100 TAP. Now, in this document here, this refers to a lot of extra documents. So 100 TAP will take you to this document, which basically tells you everything you need to know about how to check the pressures in the CO2 canisters, how to disconnect them and connect them again, how to change a beer barrel, what the cleaning procedure is. And you have to take pictures and write all this yourself for your own business, because every business is going to be different. Maybe you've got different fittings. When I first came here, we had Grolsch as our beer supplier. So they have a clip-on system, and Heineken have a screw-on system. So the Grolsch system is much better, by the way, but the Heineken system works just as good. And obviously there's a higher demand for Heineken in the centre of Amsterdam than there is Grolsch, so we've kind of gone with that. But yeah, you need all the extra instructions for everything you're doing. I also have, I've got to be careful here because some of the passwords I might show over. So here we have a work instruction for how to use the cash register, everything you need to know, and it has to be basic because you have to remember people coming in here that have never used this before must know how to use it. So how to press the power button, it has to be as basic as you can get this, even if it's insulting people. And then once you're on there, how to place an order, how to click one of the menus, how to use the sub menu and select what drinks, and how to manage your quantity, how to do a refund if there's a problem. Hopefully that'll never happen. And how to complete an order, and obviously even to the point where you show how to print the receipt. So literally these documents have to be full with every piece of information that your employees will need to know. And this even comes up to the point, oh, there's a password there, of how to use the chip and pin machine. So you need to know how to use our chip and pin machine. Some of it seems a bit insulting, like this. To take a payment, enter the amount. If the bill is £1, you would type 100. It's just the way the system is, but you need to make sure that people are typing 100 for €1 instead of 1 pence. Not that I think it accepts 1 pence, but people need to be very clear on these instructions. Then what to do if it cancels the payment, if you get a successful payment, what to do there. It's just more text. So basically you need to have all of these forms to back up everything that's written in your table of contents. Another one here is Towers Besorged. This is our delivery service, how to use their system. Sorry, I'm trying to move this a bit quick because it does contain some personal details. That's okay. So what would happen is after the order's placed, you'll get the receipt printed out, you'll choose how long it's going to take to place the order. And then if there's any delays by Towers Besorged themselves, whether their drivers are running late. So everything in the original contents that I pointed out at the start is in separate folders. So we have one main folder and then what's essentially called a shared resources folder, folders with more extra information. Also in here we have to be aware of what's been broken, dropped and scrapped. Obviously this changes from time to time based on my experience of business. That was my first ever list of home use. It was basically a Word document where I typed in what it was, why it was used and how many it was. This later changed to a more professional sheet as I've developed within the company, to this, which shows exactly a much clearer level, and then we can get everything signed off by name, who's drunk this, who's dropped that. We also have a scrap report. This is one of the biggest ones from the COVID lockdown. During COVID, all of this was expired. Sorry, I've crossed out all the batches because I don't want to share that information with everyone. But the Fanta, the cola, I think in the previous video you saw me pouring away all these drinks down the sink. That was just one of the pages that went to waste. So obviously the government could come in at any time and say, you've ordered 150 bottles of Fanta, you've sold 20, where's the rest? Yeah, COVID down the bin. So you have to have that backed up or you could get yourself in trouble. Everything must be documented. And finally, there's a document that I've got for the employees themselves which needs to be completed each day. And this will go round to each employee, so we all take a turn at doing this, including myself. Most days if it's quiet I'll do it myself anyway, just so I can take the blame for that if it's wrong. But this is the daily checklist. What's on this list is a list of all the checks that need to be done in here before we open the door for the shop for service. So I'm just going to quickly run through some of the things. So the terrace area must be clean, no rubbish or cigarette ends. The windows, doors and ledges must be clean, cobwebs removed from the front and roof corners. And every time one of the checks are done, you tick the completed. If it can't be completed or if something's broken, you write it in the issues box. The employee will then put all their details there and sign it off, and a manager will leave any comments if there's something incredibly wrong in the situation. So we've then got things like lighting and opening signs on and working. That way we know if anything's broken each day. Tables and chairs clean, gambling machines wiped down. Obviously with COVID that's quite a big problem, but now we've got to keep them off anyway. Toilets cleaned and bleached, toilet bins empty, new bags in, toilet sink, hand dryer and floor and shelf cleaned, toilet paper restocked in soap dispensers, things like that. Bar stools wiped clean, storage cupboard surroundings kept tidy, battery powered candles are all recharged, ready for use. Fire extinguishers clear from obstacles and pressures checked daily. The bar cleaned perfectly every day. Fridges fully stocked, no expired stock and check. We have another form, I haven't got it with me, but it's stock that's about to expire. So anything that's going to expire in the next month, we have a list of that so it can be ready to be removed from the fridge. And then when it is, you tick this on the chart. We then have drainage services, knives, forks and spoons prepared, in the little holders ready to give each person. The music system and cash register all powered up, Wi-Fi is working. Basically to make sure that everything is working prior to service, and if it's not, we know it's not and we can address that problem as we come to it. So that's pretty much how I operate the business, how everything's run. Obviously, with the COVID lockdown at the moment, we've entered a full lockdown now. So the only thing we can open is a takeaway, and supermarkets and drugstores are open till I think it's 8 o'clock now. So I'm taking a huge focus on takeaway meals. We've now gone for I think it's bamboo. It's some sort of recyclable packaging material. So we're now saving money there, and the packs are bigger. So we're given a better portion size, and we're using wooden knives and forks. And now we're going to look at opening Uber Eats and Deliveroo, because if this COVID stuff goes on any longer, it's pointless opening here at all. So I'm going to try and sign up for Uber Eats, Deliveroo, and make this just a full functioning takeaway and delivery service, because until they say the doors can reopen again, we're going to be stuck here, yeah, doing nothing. So that's about all I can share with you on how this business is set up and running. I hope that is all the information now, because there's not really much more I can say. This really is everything that is needed to run the business. The kitchen, obviously, you need your chef who can prepare the foods. I'm not a chef, probably not something I'd be interested in to learn, but I just need to know that what's going on in the kitchen is correct and followed by these rules, which includes using the correct chopping board colours for different types of meat or vegetables, making sure the meats sit at a different level on the fridge to the vegetables and things like that. So everything in the kitchen also has its own set of work instructions. I'm not going to go into those details now, because most of that will be irrelevant for any business that's not a kitchen. But yeah, I think that's enough information shared with you today. I hope this has been useful in some form. Sorry for dragging on and on with this, but I just wanted to address every question that we've got about the daily running of this business. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.